And hello and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. We're back again, Matt, at our normal time, at our normal night. I actually gave you the week off last week for the first time and I think forever because the channel had hit 30K. And I'm like, you know what? That's my gift to him. You take the night off. I'll do a little impromptu stream, which actually ended up running as long as a regular episode did. So, you know.
Well, there you go. You still filled the airtime.
If it makes you feel better, Matt, not as many people watch that as they watch the show.
Oh.
So if the question was, do you want solo Joel or Joel and Matt? The answer is they most definitely want us together. So there you go.
Yeah.
The chat here is giving us a very happy Easter, and I want to give one right back to all of them. In fact, I spent tonight prepping dinner for tomorrow, getting the stuffing all ready, cutting up potatoes, dry brining a turkey, just so I have to put it all in tomorrow.
Lovely, lovely.
Yeah, doing before prep has really worked out for me. I got a bunch of great desserts, and I have not touched them yet.
Nice.
I need a couple more hours of self-control until tomorrow. How have you been?
Pretty good, pretty good. We here in Australia don't really celebrate Easter as much as I guess America and Canada do. We don't we get a holiday and everything. Except just before the holiday, we went into a 3-day lockdown.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. I heard about that.
Because we had a COVID cluster here. And, over the next 2 weeks, we got to wear masks everywhere and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of put a hamper on Easter since people usually go away and people couldn't go away. And, yeah.
Likewise here, Ontario is also in a lockdown now, like a 4-week-long lockdown, which I think was just Ford covering his ass and being like, look, last time we did this, you all traveled when you weren't supposed to and spread COVID, so you're not allowed to go anywhere this time. And it's like, hey, man, didn't people, snap pictures of you doing family get-togethers at Christmas? Yeah, but shut up. Yeah, but I shouldn't have done that. So that's where we're at right now. Luckily, my bubble is nice and small and everything, too, and I don't think all the stores are going to shut down here completely, so, I can still get my CBDs and what haves you.
Awesome.
So that's pretty good. What else have you been up to? Anything fun?
Not really, no, since we've been in lockdown, so I haven't really been able to do much.
Guess not. You were, making me super jealous the last couple of weeks. Oh, yeah, I saw all the Lord of the Rings movies, and I went outside.
Yep, I did get to see Kong, Godzilla vs. Kong, and, yeah.
Big Monk, Biz Liz.
Yeah, big Lizard versus Big Monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I have not seen that movie, though, but I heard the funniest goddamn thing about it, where it's like, so Millie Bobby Brown is back as the one person who can talk to Godzilla, and there's also a little deaf child that can do sign language with Kong, because that's one of the few things we know about gorillas, is that they could sign. And never once in that movie did the two kids square off with each other like a big frickin' Pokemon
missed
battle.
opportunity, yeah. They should have had a battle while the bigger one was going on behind them.
Yeah, they should definitely have been coaching their respective monsters. Get in there, clobber a monk. I have not seen the movie yet. In fact, I've only seen like half of Kong of Skull Island, and I haven't seen, that other Godzilla movie, so I'm very much behind.
You gotta watch it. I don't understand all the people that saying, oh, it's stupid. It's nothing but big monsters hitting each other. It's like, yeah. That's what these movies are.
Yeah, don't watch a Toho movie, I guess.
No, don't.
Again, your mind, my brain. What's with all these stupid human characters? Again, Toho movie.
Yeah. Look at that new Shin Godzilla. Like 99% of it is people.
Is the frickin' people caught between it there? You see, the monsters are allegories, man. Is what they are. They're all big allegories. Beyond that, my week was fairly boring. Still working my way through Persona Strikers. Again, it's a lot slower than the mainline Persona games, but I'm still trying it out. It's still fun. The music is still great.
Awesome.
I also wanted to shoot something real bad, and for a second I thought, I should buy one of the newer Call of Duty, see what that's all about. Then I'm like, oh wait, I have Titanfall 2 here that I've never touched and never played. I should try that, so I'm doing Titanfall 2 right now.
Is that got a single player or is it just multiplayer?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does.
The first one only had online. The second one, they actually got a story in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a boy in his robot tail where you shoot the gun.
Nice.
Yeah. definitely that too. I'm also at the point now in my Switch where it's like I've got too many digital games on it, so I need to buy like an actual memory card. And I realized, oh wait, SanDisk actually makes a line of them that has little Mario stars and little Hyrule symbols and everything on them. I'm like, oh well, I've definitely got to get one of them.
Gotta get one of them.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's made literally for it. Yeah, Titanfall 2 is fun. You're never going to get a sequel to it, though, because they're too busy making Apex Legends.
Yeah, although apparently there's Titanfall stuff in Apex Legends now. Or
from what I've heard,
yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, literally all the stuff you like from Apex was from Titanfall 2. Like, the running and crouching, the wall running. Yeah. Some of the weapons even fire the same.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Apex, but, like, I'm terrible at all those like big team-based shooter games. I'm a very solitary gamer, Matt.
Yeah, I understand as well. Yeah, I didn't particularly like it, or like stuff like Fortnite and stuff like that. Just doesn't do it for me.
It's funny. I was researching too. Apparently that game, what is it, Hunt Showdown? Apparently that has more of a single-player mode now, and I'm like, ooh, that's like weird Southern Gothic with like custom crazy guns. I like that. And it's like $15 on Steam. I may have to try that.
I've been like mulling that one over. It does look pretty damn cool.
I almost got the new Watch Dogs Legion too because that big PlayStation summer sale is going on. I put it in my cart and I'm like, okay, I'll buy that tomorrow. It's only $26. Came back and it's back to $79.99. No. I'm like, fuck off.
It'll go on. It's a Ubisoft game. They always go on sale.
They do. They really do. I'm in no particular rush to get to it. In fact, the later you get to it, the better probably because they put more shit into it.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Rise. Yeah, I was not that interested into Monster Hunter Rise until I saw that there's an outfit that makes you look like a cowboy.
Yeah, there is.
And now I kind of want it just so I can be cowboy.
Yeah, I've been umming and ahhing about whether I should buy that because at the end of this month we've got stuff like Returnal and like Resident Evil 8 and Mass Effect comes out at the middle of next year.
That's month. Right, it does. It's funny, I definitely want to play Resident Evil Village, whatever you want to call it, because it looks fucking sweet, but also it looks so good, I kind of want to make it the first game I play on a next-gen console, and I don't know if you've been paying attention, everyone, but no one can get a next-gen console anywhere.
And here's me just patting my PlayStation 5.
Matt, the wealthy console elite here, staring down on the rest of us plebs from his high ivory tower that is as white as the PlayStation 5 that he owns. It's good to have land, by which I mean consoles. Resident Evil 8 looks really good. They showed off some more footage of it, and they're like, hey guys, we fixed the biggest problem you had with RE7, and that is that the molded kind of sucked as enemies. Well, guess what? We have lots of different enemy types now.
Yeah, it looks really damn cool.
Yeah, which is amazing. There you go. They fixed it up. All the other PlayStation 5 elitists are patting themselves in the back of the chest. Well, good for you. Isn't it good to be you? Now, as I keep saying, I can't actually get that until I get a new television, which I might actually be able to get a new television now because I actually got my tax refund recently, and I was going to put some of it away, but there's nothing to say I can't put some of it away and buy a new TV.
That's true.
Yeah. What's a good TV, everyone, in the chat? Tell me in the comments section. What's the best television for video game plans?
I mean, I know like, if you're going to be playing like a PlayStation, obviously the Sony TVs, they're like kind of integrated with the
That was my thought, yeah.
Problem is they like, because it's a brand name, it's quite expensive.
It is. I've noticed that because I've gone down that rabbit hole before. I'm like, why are Sony TVs so expensive? And then it's like, well, I got to get a big TV, right? Because that's a sign of success, owning a big TV. And then I'm like, motherfucker, you watch most of your stuff on your pad and on your computer screen anyway. What do you care about having a good TV? Honestly, the best screen in the house is the one I'm on right now doing this show with, the monitor, because it's the newest monitor I bought, and it's beautiful, and that's why I've been playing so many more Steam games.
Yep.
I also like Samsung, Cameron. I've had, the TV I have right now is one, and it's lasted me for like 10 years.
Yeah, Samsung's a good brand.
Never broken down, never had a problem with it. In fact, before that, I had another Samsung that also lasted me about 10 years. So, goddammit, they're built to last, aren't they? And before that, my last TV was like one of the big box televisions, and like when that one died, one of the filaments exploded, and I thought a gunshot went off. No joke.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Like, I literally hit the ground. I'm like, oh god, someone's shooting at me. But it wasn't. It was just that. So are we ready for the news, Matt? We haven't done a show, so there's quite a few topics that have piled up since.
There is, yes.
All right, and before we do, everyone, remember, if you want to support the show, and I know you've been doing it, and it warms my heart to see it, get yourself a nice, cool, refreshing Wild Bill soda. You can use the Cape Joel promo code that's flashing on screen right now, and you will get 10% off.
Yes, yes.
Which is a goddamn great deal.
It is. It's really good.
Again, enjoy the taste of summer as we get closer and closer to it, and God willing, one day when this is all said and done, we can all get back together and drink them together. Tevi in the chat is talking about Space Jam 2. I'm like, yes, the biggest comic book news, Space Jam 2.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about that film.
Neither do I.
I'm not the demographic.
No, neither am I, which is the other thing. Because I love people being like, oh, it's so creatively bankrupt. I'm like, guys, the first Space Jam was made because there was a bunch of popular commercials with Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes, right? It was literally based on a commercial. You can't call it crass and consumerist and, artistically dead. It was always artistically dead. Cornerstone of 90s nostalgia, no doubt about it. We all saw that movie. We all had the action figures. We all had everything. I had a Monstar, but still, totally creatively bankrupt.
Yeah, and this one just looks more of the same, except everything's in 4K now.
It's literally... It's not even just like, okay, so are we going to try and do something with the Looney Tunes brand? It's brand the movie. It's Warner Brothers branding the movie.
Yeah, I did get a good hearty chuckle out of the fact that it's literally set in the servers of HBO Max.
Yeah. Again, it's basically the HBO Max movie, which that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed, KT. You saw it when you were 3. I saw it when I was 6, and you're right. I thought it was great too. Got that R. Kelly song stuck in my head, which was a bad choice given many years later. The one thing that stands out to me, and I know you, me, and Mitch were talking about this one, is Warner Brothers' continued fascinating use of the Iron Giant. We know you like the Iron Giant. We know you recognize the Iron Giant, but we're not going to do anything else with the Iron Giant.
Especially when it would be so simple. Because I guarantee you, Vin Diesel would be more than happy to voice the character in the few lines he has.
Dude, Vin Diesel, with everything he's got with the Fast and the Furious and the Guardians of the Galaxy, he would produce that shit.
Yeah, why hasn't he?
Yeah, Vin, get on that. You have your people call my people. And by my people, I mean call me on my landline phone, and I will pick it up. Actually, no, call me at the payphone around the corner, actually, because I forgot to pay the phone bill this month, so call me there. Yeah, it's probably because it's a Brad Bird thing, and Brad Bird has hitched his star pretty much entirely to Disney at this point. That's probably why.
That's true, yeah.
I wonder if it bugs him to see the Iron Giant keep showing up and stuff and knowing he can't do anything about it.
Maybe. Or he might be happy about it. He'd probably get a check from it.
It's just like, you always felt like there should have been more, like a comic tie-in or a cartoon or like something that continued the story, because like the germ of the idea was always there, and that is the giant came, hit its head, but ended up being good, but there's a whole universe of evil Iron Giants out there destroying worlds and what happens when they come to Earth.
See, I think if it had been like a couple more years, like in the future, like from when it was released, like say if it was released in like 2005, it would have actually had like a show, an animated show that would have had like 10 seasons, because all the episodes were like 10 minutes long or something.
Absolutely. Speaking of animated shows that never got made, and I swear this is actually about comics, did you hear Butch Lukic, whatever his name is, the guy who works for Warner Brothers Animation? He's working on that new Justice League World War II movie. Mm-hmm. The animated one. He says that a bunch of the ideas that got put into that movie were actually leftover ideas and concepts he had from a Wonder Woman animated series that they were developing along the first movie.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of pissed that we were this close to getting a World War II based Wonder Woman show and we didn't get it.
No.
That's a real piss off, because like you think how impactful even to this day Batman the animated series is, Superman the animated series, hell, Teen Titans, that show, even like how much the comics reap from that, and how much that started people's fandoms and it helped them reinvent characters for the 90s and everything. Imagine what they could have done with a Wonder Woman show.
Yeah, it would have been great.
Yeah, real missed opportunity. That's like is like they say things come in threes, and like that should have been the third thing. It should have been like the holy trinity of it all. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, maybe that movie will be good. It looks pretty good.
It does look good. You know why I like it? I like it for the same reason. I liked Heart of the Dragon, which was also awesome, by the way, for those who haven't seen it. It was really freaking good, because it's different, and it looks different, and it's stylistically different.
Yeah, it's got an art style that looks like there was some time put into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I feel good too and vindicated. Someone asked James Tucker on Twitter, I don't know how many people saw this, but they're like, hey, did you always know you were going to end with Justice League Dark Side War, 16 movies in? He's like, no, not at all. They just told us to shut it down one day. Of course we didn't know that was going to be the last one. People argued the fuck out of me with that one. I'm like, oh yeah, they're bringing their universe to an end arbitrarily, even though there's a bunch of hanging stuff left over. They definitely pulled the plug on this. Like, no, they didn't. They were always building up to this. No, they weren't. And now James Tucker has confirmed they weren't.
Yeah, you could tell it was like, oh, people don't really like these films. They're not doing very well. We're going to reboot like what they do in the comics.
Yeah, so there you go. So for those keeping track, Joel 1, Internet 0. We'll say it's Joel 1, Internet 1, 2, at least, because, you got to be right at least some point out there. It's more even than it's not. Oh, yeah, and we got Batman The Long Halloween to look forward to after that.
Yeah, that's coming in 2 parts.
It is. I kind of worry, though, when I look at the cast on that. The cast is good, don't get me wrong, but they got characters like Solomon Grundy in there and other stuff. I'm like, I don't know.
Don't changing it up again.
Yeah, don't Batman hush us on this one. Don't, take a story that we all know and love and change it too much.
I don't know why they do that. Why do they do that?
Meanwhile, they're so slavish to something like Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
If you're going to be slavish, be slavish. If you're going to change it, change everything.
Yeah, it's even weirder when you get the stories like that recent Death of Superman stuff where they actually had like Dan Jurgens and stuff involved, and they make all these really drastic changes to the story. It's like, why? You had the guy who wrote the story right there.
Very, very weird. And again, is that got to feel like, hey, butcher the thing you wrote?
Yeah, it's weird.
Feels very, very fucking weird. Yeah, as the chat saying too, Jensen Ackles is going to be the voice of Batman. Yeah, isn't that interesting? He went from Red Hood to Batman. Good for him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, good for him. I'm interested to see what he brings to the part. I think he'll nail, younger, moodier Batman, especially if they do that, great scene there that everyone remembers. You know the one.
I know the one.
You know the one. There's so many great scenes in Long Halloween. That's the joke, everyone. There are many great scenes in it. All right. I guess with that, we can hop into the news proper then.
Yep.
Starting off with a big one. It's a story that I wish I could say I didn't see coming, but I saw it coming.
I think we all did when it was announced. Some just didn't want to admit it.
Yeah, New Gods and The Trench have been axed by Warner Brothers. Wah, wah.
Yeah, Trench was one of those ones that was like axed before it was announced.
Yeah, Trench was like Cyborg in 2020. It's like, come on, guys. Seriously, you actually think you're going to make that? Come on. We know. Stop lying. Which unfortunately, too, hey, New Gods was also supposed to have, a creative black woman at the helm and also didn't end up having. So it's like, oh, that's not just a loss for superhero fans. That's like a loss for Hollywood.
I noticed that because like James Wan was also meant to be producing or somehow involved in that. It's just like, it's very strange that like the African American woman and the Asian man get like
their
fired and
project's
dumped while the white edgelord gets his 4-hour cut.
And $70 million more. Guys, it's a bad look, guys. Now, we're not implying anything. We're just saying, fuck me, that's a bad look.
Yeah. At least Ava DuVernay still has the Naomi show, which was given us a whole season. So, yeah.
That's good. I'm happy for that, if nothing else. And shit, maybe if the Naomi show does really good, they'll let her resurrect this as a TV series or something.
Yeah.
Because it's like, come on, HBO Max, aren't you like super horny for content or something at this point?
Or Marvel hires her to do like Eternals 2.
Yeah, now that would be a fucking steal. Because let's face it, Warner Brothers did not greenlit New Gods because they know a lot about the New Gods. You know, oh yeah, we love that Orion, and you know, we love Forager and everything. No, you guys did this because you saw what they were doing with Eternals at Marvel, and it's like, hey, do we have something that's kind of like that? Oh, we do? Mm-hmm. Let's do that then. And also, let's get Tom King, because he wrote Mr. Miracle, which was popular at the time, I guess, so I guess he knows about this stuff, so we'll just get him. That's the other thing about this thing with New Gods canceled. That means Tom King will be coming back to the world of comics sooner than you thought.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that. We theorized, like, oh, why is he leaving this comics? Then this news came out. It's like, oh, that's why.
That's why. That's why, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Which, because you and I had joked forever when we were driving ourselves crazy reading his Batman run, where it's like, man, he is going to leave comics and he's going to go and write movies as he always wanted, and he'll give interviews about how mean comic book fans like us were to him, but it doesn't matter because he's a big-time Hollywood screenwriter now. Well, Mr. King, it looks like we're going to have to learn to live with each other for just a little bit longer. It's okay, though, because, you know, we'll divide the house a la I Love Lucy. I'll stay on my side, you stay on your side. And maybe you'll write another, Superman book that I will enjoy.
Yeah, well, he's got that Supergirl book.
He does indeed. There you go. Which, again, they announced that book out of the blue, if you'll remember. It's like, oh yeah, and we're doing a Superman or Supergirl book. Mm-hmm. Maybe he knew. Maybe they told him. Hey, guys, can I get another book right quick? Yeah, exactly, Lich Lord Chris. Who gets the fridge in this, and who gets the bathroom? As we divide the house down the thing there. Yeah, I mean, New Gods is definitely the saddest to see go, because it's like, it's not hard to think how they could have turned that into something pretty fucking interesting, because, like, yo, Jack Kirby is the man, and the Fourth World is pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah, well, apparently, like, the reason is because they want to distance themselves from Snyder's version of Darkseid, and, like, I can see too. It doesn't make much sense to me, but I can see what they meant in saying is that they want to release a movie with Darkseid in it that isn't that same Darkseid. It's probably a bit more of a comic accurate Darkseid, and don't want to muddy the waters or something.
Also, thank you, Winford Lee. Also, see, I find that hard to believe. Like, I know that's the reason they gave, but it's like, come on, guys. You can have multiple different Batmen on screen at one time. Marvel and Sony have shown you can have a whole universe of Spider-Man. You can have a Joker that's in the 70s, but oh no, we can't have two Darkseids, though. That doesn't sound right. I think there was more going on here.
Yeah, well, as well, I think around the same time this happened, the news came out that the Flash movie is indeed going to be resetting the universe into something interconnected. So I don't know, maybe they got something going on with him there or something.
That I'm more willing to believe, honestly. I think this just comes down to, you know, the Trench and New Gods was victims of, we don't know what the fuck we're doing at DC and Warner Brothers. And the more we try and, you know, right the ship, the more cargo we lose off the side.
Yeah.
Which, that's unfortunate. I mean, the Trench, they were never going to make the Trench. They greenlit the Trench when Aquaman did good.
Like the weekend of Aquaman, like, making like $1 billion or something.
They're like, oh, we'll do this and we'll do an Amazon movie because we like money and we like good press. Not thinking like, oh, fuck, then we got to actually do it, right?
Yeah.
Shame, too, because, I mean, if James Wan was attached, he's a horror director. I imagine he could make a pretty interesting movie with the Trench monsters.
I'm all for, like sea monsters and stuff from, like, deep in the oceans. I like that sort of stuff, and it could have been interesting, but, yeah, I don't, like, who would be, like, the main character in that? Like,
exactly.
How does that work?
How do you deal with the Trench monsters and not have Aquaman show up? And if you have Aquaman show up, is it not an Aquaman movie at that point?
Yeah.
That's the real issue with it, where it's like, yeah, we just follow a bunch of fishermen as they fight trench monsters and everything. Like, oh, and then does Aquaman come in and save the day at the end? Oh, no, we didn't think that far. Oh, fuck, I guess he would have to come in and save the day. Or any of the heroes that exist in this world. Oh, man, this horror movie concept really falls apart in a world of superheroes. Yeah, Calderon will show up and save the day. Why not?
Because everyone knows who that is. All the general audience knows who that is.
They love the Young Justice. Yeah, as the chat is saying there, with James Wan, he could have made the movie for cheap. He could have made it for like $500,000 over a weekend.
Yeah, in his pool or something.
In his pool in his backyard. Well, he made a whole horror movie over a weekend. Holy shit, good for him. He filmed it on an iPhone. It looks great. That's a shame. It's a shame, but also, like, come on, we knew these weren't happening.
No, yeah, I wonder what else is going to get axed now. We did mention that Amazon thing. Has that
That's
already
right.
been axed, or is it? You reckon that's
I haven't
next?
heard. I've only heard people talk about it in relationship to these two canceled projects, so I'm going to say yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird, too, because it's like for Wonder Woman 87, we got very little Amazons because she's in Man's World, and I'm like, did they try and downplay the Amazons because they wanted to do another Amazon story?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's very weird. Again, there's so much shit that's just not making sense at DC and Warner Brothers.
No, and I don't think none of it will until like that Flash movie comes out.
True enough. I mean, even the good news we're hearing, and it's undeniably good news, they cast a bunch of people for the JSA in, what is it, Black Adam?
Yeah, like Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
Which is cool.
Yeah, so like we're getting like a proper JSA, which could offshoot into their own movie, which I imagine is the plan.
That seems to be the idea. They're like, look, we screwed up the present, but if we go back in time to the past and build from there...
Yeah, and
we'll be
Helen
okay.
Mirren's also in Shazam as the bad guy, as Atlas's daughter.
That's right. Yeah, the daughter of the nymphs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever her deal is. Is she a character from the comics, or is she just a character from mythology?
I think she's like new. Yeah.
Interesting, because like her name didn't stick out to me, and
No.
I did like Google it. That's cool though. I mean, Helen Mirren's always great.
Yeah.
Also seems like she's going to be a different type of villain. I don't imagine her being all that physical and flying and smacking Shazam around. She could though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Beat Shazam with her cane.
Hey, she's in those new Fast and Furious films.
That's right, she is. I can do action. Fuck you. I'm Helen Mirren. I was in Caligula, bitch. That's how I imagine Helen Mirren talks.
That's exactly how she talks.
Dane Helen Mirren. Has she been Daned, or am I just imagining that?
I have no idea, actually. I would have.
You think she would be? She would be. Maybe she's just not like so hoity-toity about it.
Yeah.
And what is it, like Judi Dench? It's like, no, you've got to put the Dane in front of there. I didn't get Daned for nothing. Yes, everyone, this is a new voice I'm trying out now. I'm glad you like it. New voices in video essays. That's the Joel look for 2021. It's where I'm going with it. Yes, Oscar-worthy voice acting. All right, so moving on from there, we got some Star Wars news, actually, so I'm going to actually let you take the lead on this one, Matt. The full cast for the Obi-Wan show had been announced this week.
Yes, and there's quite some interesting actors involved.
Very.
Yeah.
Very, very.
Like Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah, absolutely. If I had to guess, I'm going to say they're probably going to make him voice an alien, because he voices aliens and so many other things.
I'd like that, but then I also wonder, then I'm like, he just got like really ripped for Eternals.
He did.
So like, I'd love for him to play like a badass like bounty hunter or something like that.
That would also be pretty cool. Yeah, I could totally see him as what is it? Ooh, maybe like a Jedi outcast or something.
That'd be
Kumail
pretty cool.
Najani, the Jedi outcast with the friggin' six-pack abs.
Yeah, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are back because of course they are.
Naturally.
Which is cool.
Joel Edgerton holding it down for all the Joels out there. We are Legion. We stand together, never alone. Represent. And of course, as we already knew, Hayden Christensen as well coming back, no doubt, hoping to try and get his own redemption arc.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I can't wait to see him in this.
Same. I think he's like one of the most watching. It's like, yeah. It's Ewan McGregor's show, but we're all watching to see what Hayden Christensen can do.
Yeah, with an actual competent director and competent writers and everything. Yeah, It's gonna be great.
O'Shea Jackson Jr., yet another really interesting up-and-coming young actor with a great lineage.
Sung Kang, which is it's really funny because obviously his character in the Fast and Furious movies, his name's Han Solo.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now he finally gets to bring it all full circle. Good for him. Yeah, I may have pissed and moaned about Obi-Wan, where it's like, oh god, do we really need his story? Like, is it really important that we're gonna fill in all these blanks? I think we could do that on our own. But then I see the cast in front of me, I'm like, okay, if it's happening anyway, I'm glad it's happening like this at least.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. I guess we still don't know, like, what is it even about, the Obi-Wan show?
Yeah, we know it's obviously going to be set on Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea. Because again, like, as we've said before, a lot of his time on Tatooine was told about in those Jason Aaron comics. Mm-hmm. Him dealing with, like, water tax from the Hutts and stuff like that.
And if they do this show, are they going to, honor that stuff, or are they going to, end up creating some discontinuity? From what we've seen in The Mandalorian, it would seem that, yes, they're going to honor the comic stuff.
They're pretty good with it. There's only been, like, a few, like, inconsistencies that basically boil down to, like, what color lightsaber was Ahsoka using during the Siege of Mandalore? Like, that's really the only, like, difference.
Like, real nerd minutia.
Yeah.
Which, when it's Star Wars, isn't it all just nerd minutia?
Yeah, true.
Again, I know the story I've told in my head is, again, that one from that Jason Aaron arc in the beginning where I want Obi-Wan to be no country for old Jedi. He's an old, lightsaber slinger who put it away, but when the gangsters are at his door, he'll have to bring it back out, but do it in secret because he doesn't want little Luke to see him.
That seems the logical way to go. Basically, Unforgiven, but in Star Wars with Ewan McGregor, which makes me think they won't do that.
Exactly, because they're always about, kind of messing with your exceptions or expectations.
And Deborah Chow's, I don't know whether she's writing it. I know she's directing it.
Yes.
And she did wonderful work on Mandalorian on some of those episodes. So, yeah.
She did.
It's going to be really interesting.
Look, I just want old man Obi-Wan to be like, I'm not that man anymore. I'm Ben Kenobi. Get off my space lawn, you dick. That's all I want. Is Ben Kenobi gonna have to force choke a bitch? Well, is he? Oh, them damn sand people are back again. No, I don't want to buy anything. Please leave. And then he meets a young sand person who grows up to be Darth Krayt.
Oh, you want that to happen so badly.
I do. They're never gonna fucking do that in a million goddamn years.
It'd be pretty cool if they did, though.
Yeah, meets a young... Because again, hey, we got a whole episode, kind of humanizing the Tusken Raiders in a way we never did before.
That's very true. And
also,
he would be kind of like... I wouldn't say friends with them, but like familiar with them.
Yeah. And again, hey, John Ostrander's work is getting really popular again, guys. I don't know if you've noticed. I noticed. Now, moving on from there, we got some interesting comic book news. Hey, Matt, remember Spider-Man Life Story?
I did. You didn't stop gushing about it.
It was one of the best comics that came out that year. Probably one of the best Spider-Man stories ever told. And surprisingly, out of the goddamn blue, Zdarsky and the original artist have joined forces yet again, and we're going to be getting a Life Story annual.
Nice.
Which is so freaking cool. And again, I love these minimalist covers they do with it.
They're very cool.
They are very cool. I think Zdarsky draws these himself, actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does.
Yeah. I forget sometimes that, Chip Zdarsky is an artist, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's been getting so much, like, love and admiration for his writing recently. It's like, oh, yeah, and you draw. Mm-hmm. Man, you can do it all. Holy shit. The thing we can see from the cover here is it looks like Jameson is in jail. We don't know why. Or at what chapter in Spidey's life this is, because we saw the entirety of his life basically from birth to death.
Yep.
In the life story. So again, what chapter are they going to pull out for this?
I would have to say like maybe the modern time. Well, they could do it like in a story where it's like set in the 60s, 70s where Jameson's still after Spider-Man and Spider-Man's got to help him and
right. Like maybe we track that relationship because like that was in Life Story, but not like in a big way.
Yeah, as well, they've got to try and do it in a way that isn't stepping on what Nick Spencer is doing, where it's sort of covering the same ground. Where,
what if
like,
they were friends? Yeah. What if they were,
Yeah, where Jameson's now like helping him hide his identity and whatnot.
True, yeah. So there's lots of places they could go that I'm certainly excited for, and as the chat is saying, it makes more sense to come out with it now, because we got that Mark Russell Fantastic Four life story also coming down the pipeline as well.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
So more power to it. Mm-hmm. Alrighty then, what else do we got going on here? Oh, so here's a massive story that happened last week, although it has seemingly kind of died down since then, as you know, people were shocked, but people very quickly learned to live with it. Marvel Comics is severing ties with Diamond Distributor to ink a brand new deal with Penguin House.
This comes after the week we were talking about, was it Free Comic Book Day?
We did.
About how what was going to happen, because like they were still with Diamond and everything, and yeah, then they just like up and left them.
Yeah, what does this mean for Free Comic Book Day? Frickin', what is it? Diamond isn't doing DC books anymore. Could you imagine if Marvel left? Would that be the end of Free Comic Book Day? No, because they never needed Diamond, and as we see further, they don't need Diamond. In fact, they have inked probably a much better deal with a book producer, which from what I understand, IDW had already been working with Penguin House for a while, and IDW does those like Star Wars and Spider-Man comics, so a lot of people, myself included, have theorized that maybe this deal had actually been in the works for a long time.
For a while, yeah.
And I mean, really, why shouldn't Marvel do it? Literally almost a year to the day that DC broke ties with them, Marvel does the same thing, being like, oh, it's been a year, DC hasn't caught fire yet, in some ways they're stronger than they were before, oh, let's do that then.
I'm fairly certain we said something similar to that, like, when this
wait
first
a year
happened,
and see.
Yeah, they'll wait and see, like, what happens, like, give it, like, 6 months, a year, see if DC, like, falls to wreckage or something, and they obviously did. If what I'm led to believe, they're actually better than ever.
Yeah, that they're actually making really strong strides now without the creative anchor that is Diamond around their neck. And let's face it, it was a creative anchor. I mean, you'll hear all the bullshit that they had gotten up to at Diamond, all the books that they had inadvertently killed with their archaic scoring system of like, oh, well, only the books bought through us count, and you have to do this, this, and this, and those like disastrous conferences they had with store owners who are like, I don't like all the black people comics.
Yep.
And like Diamond just having to sit there and listen to them when they say these insane fucking things.
Yeah, and the one thing that did surprise me with all the people that were like on Diamond's side of this, I'm like, they were a monopoly. We're breaking that up. There's nothing. Only good things can come from this.
But I'm a masochist who loves corporations and monopolies to tell me what to do. Also, here's the thing, too. With the DC thing, it happened very, very quickly because it was a pandemic. They're like, well, if you're not putting our books out anyway, what the fuck are we even doing with you? We'll do it ourselves.
Yeah, why are we paying you?
Yeah, why are we paying you and why aren't you paying your people? That's another story that got lost in that shuffle where Diamond's like, yeah, we're not going to be able to pay people anymore.
Yep.
With this, so we suck on multiple levels for multiple reasons. Again, Marvel, having the benefit of a year and getting to watch what DC did and getting to watch the way people reacted. I know mom and pop stores were all pissed off because they're like, well, how are we supposed to, get deals with other distributors if we can't have, DC books in our shops? That'll kill us and ruin us, and at a time of a pandemic where we can't get people in the shops anyway. Marvel, again, did it a little differently, and that is like, look, you can go through Penguin House. We'll even give you a better deal on shipping. I think the new deal on shipping they're giving is you don't have to pay by weight anymore, which is actually a very big thing for them. So they actually end up winning a couple ways on this one, and they're going to keep Marvel books. What's interesting, too, about the conversation, I talked about this with other people, everyone's like, oh, will bookstores, that Penguin House supplies, will this, help give comics the shot in the arm? Will this, save comics? And I'm like, guys, I think you're actually looking at this backwards. I think what you should be looking and asking is, will the Marvel brand actually save small independent bookstores now? Because they're going to put comics where people can actually find them and buy them again.
Yeah, much like DC, you're going to see them in, newsstands again. And,
that'd be
little bookstores and grocery stores and stuff like that.
I've been saying for a million years, you want comics to do better? Put them where people can find them. They disappeared into specialty stores in the 90s, and because of that, a whole generation never picked up a comic and never became a fan.
Yeah, it became like this very rare find If you ever found
Yes.
one in like, because I remember like every now and then you'd see one in the grocery store and you'd be like, whoa, what's that doing in here?
And comic shops themselves became their own weird secret societies. And I mean, shit, what is it? The Ogdenville Club, for Christ's sake, even back in the 90s was making fun of this fact where it's like, comic book shops don't always open in the nicest neighborhoods sometimes. And the people who run it there are usually kind of fucking surly and scare people away. Why do you think they preferred Amazon and the internet and Comixology? And why do you think those things were eating Diamond's lunch for years? But Diamond was just like, la, 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 it's not happening. They didn't buy it through us, so it doesn't count. It's not a real purchase.
Yeah.
And now we don't have this anymore. And now that they have lost Marvel and DC, Diamond is essentially dead now. They're a zombie. They're the Walking Dead.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not around like entirely by the end of the year.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's just a matter of time now. The problem is, and I really am interested to see how this will go, how will this affect the smaller publishers? Because Marvel and DC were always going to be fine because they're backed by mega entertainment companies. Their brands are part of the pop culture tapestry. They were always going to be okay. But for IDW and Boom and Dark Horse and all these other places, they're probably, scurrying right now to try and make plans with some of these other companies.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think
they will be too,
because they have their audiences built in, and every now and then they release something that's actually quite big, and gets like quite a lot of attention. But yeah, I think they'll be fine.
Again, Image, Valiant. I mean, come on, those guys got movie money behind them now and everything.
Yep.
They'll be okay. Again, maybe the real, scary thing is what about the companies that are smaller than them even that you haven't heard of, but that still put books out?
I could see some of them merging with some of the bigger ones. Merging with like an
IDW
so. Or an Image or something.
Yeah, I think I would not be shocked if we heard that story more in the future. Like, what is it? What's the company that does Robin Hood, ROBYUN?
Oh, that
Hood?
one, the one that comes out like every fucking week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what about that one?
It's not Aftershock, is it?
Maybe, yeah, because... or no, I'm thinking of Dynamite that did The Boys and did some of the other stuff there.
Yep.
But we're all mad at Dynamite anyway, even though they keep sending me press copies for stuff, and I'm like, guys,
well, even I think they'll be fine because they have like a lot of like IP that's like quite
true.
Well, I wouldn't think it's popular. It is. It's like Green Hornet, and I think they do the James Bond comics.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something. I mean, I'm sure it will all shake out in the end for the better. It'll just be, kind of scary and stressful time for other people.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, the loss of Diamond Distributor is a net good for the industry. They were a anchor, a ball and chain around the neck of this industry, and things can only get better without them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is a shame that it took a global pandemic to drag the comic industry kicking and screaming into the 21st century. To embracing, other distribution methods that we really need to do. And in fact, I'm very interested now to see where we're going to find Marvel stuff now because of this.
Yeah, like, are they going to stay the same day? Are we going to get them on Tuesday with the DC comics? Are we going to get them on a Monday or a Thursday? Like, yeah.
That's the thing. They can do whatever the fuck they want now. Because as we have figured out, it's like, oh yeah, I guess the Wednesday day and date release there was just something mandated by Diamond that we've all just come to take as gospel.
Yeah. They can release them whenever they want now.
Yeah, as soon as they broke, they're like, no, it doesn't have to be a day for it.
Yeah, unless Penguin has an actual day.
Unless they have an actual true enough. Yeah. I don't know enough about independent bookstores for all I know. Yeah, Marvel Monday writes itself, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, I remember when I went to the Blockbusters back in the day for new movies, it was always DVD Tuesday. That was the day the new movies always came out. Now, that doesn't mean anything, but back in my old man day, that meant a thing.
Well, nowadays, when movies release in cinemas, for me at least, it's a Thursday. For, I think, you guys in North America, it's like a Friday. Yeah. Same with, like, video games. It's like a Friday, Thursday, Friday.
It's usually always Friday.
So, yeah, I could see them doing something like that.
Yeah, I mean, those aren't always, like, ironclad rules, but that always used to be the thing. And I mean, shit, even when DC moved to Tuesday, and they've been Tuesday for a goddamn year now, which is hard to believe, it didn't really change that much for me because it's like, well, maybe I'll go get the new books on Tuesday if something big is coming out, but if not, I'll just wait till Wednesday and get everything all in one go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how it went, so it didn't end up changing much. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I wonder if also this means, like, because both companies don't have to adhere to Diamond or anything, I wonder if this, like, changes stuff like, oh, now they can work closer together.
Maybe, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Yeah, I think there's still a lot of professional, like, animosity there, but
true.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll see. What's our next story here? Another big story. Man, I got to talk about this so much on my own stream, on other streams I was on, but, the Suicide Squad trailer.
Yeah, it looks fucking great.
Boy, howdy does it. There was the Dirty Work trailer they dropped, then they dropped another one on April Fool's Day, which was like the quote-unquote theatrical trailer. It's funny to say theatrical trailer now because none of us can go to the fucking movies. Unless you're in New Zealand or a good country, I don't know. But wow, what a cool-ass trailer that like instantly washes the bad taste out of your mouth of the first one. In fact, I even got to see it happening in real time where people were, like, kind of being snotty about it, where it's like, oh, another Suicide Squad trailer. Wasn't the first one, like, a big hack to pieces, mess of a thing? Then they watch the trailer, and, like, 2 minutes later, they're like, okay, I retract my former statement. This is dope as fuck. Let's do it.
It looks fantastic.
The cast looks really funny. John Cena steals the show to the point where I'm like, this is why he's getting a TV show.
Yeah. I can understand why he's getting a TV show, why the character's coming back in the comics. Yeah, I think he's going to be the standout of the movie.
I'll suck a whole beach full of dicks for America. Yeah, that's about right. It's funny that Peacemaker is basically what everyone thought John Walker was going to be.
Yeah.
This weird parody version. Maybe they knew that, and maybe that's why they made John Walker a little bit more like, what is it? Kind of more normal and unexpected. Mm-hmm. Like, he's still a bad guy. He's got, like, bad guy bubbling under the surface there, but it's under the surface. It's not in your face.
No, not like Peacemaker.
No, not like Peacemaker, who's just in your goddamn face all the time. Love the soundtrack. Holy shit, Steely Dan's Dirty Work. What an amazing choice.
Very fitting.
Very. Again, we talk all the time on this show like, oh, that was a bad musical choice. Oh, that was so on the nose. This is the perfect example of a good musical choice because it's, I'm a fool to do your dirty work, as indeed the Suicide Squad does dirty, wet work for the government. But the song Dirty Work is not about that. It's actually about an affair. Mm-hmm. So again, it's a song that you can read two ways. That's why it's a good song choice.
Yeah, it's not very on your nose like all those songs in the first Suicide Squad were.
Yeah, man, fucking James Gunn makes musical choices just look so easy, doesn't he?
I don't know how he does it.
He does.
I don't know how.
I mean, he says he just had good parents with like a really good vinyl collection, and it tells.
Yeah.
I actually went back and listened to that whole Steely Dan album this week. I'm like, oh my god, Steely Dan fucking rocks. There's so many songs on this I love. There's Dirty Work, Reeling in the Years. So many just fucking bangers. Harley Quinn is great in this. She's got a new costume. I like that it's kind of a gown.
Yeah. Also, does she sounds like better in this. Like, she's not putting on that accent like as much.
No.
She's
a lot more casual.
Yeah, and I much prefer her in this than like in Birds of Prey and Suicide Squad and all that.
She's a lot more casual. I love the bit when it's like, we're here to save you. You were here to save me. And I'm like, oh, that's actually really affecting because, she's a character who, like, no one really loves her and she doesn't know who her real friends are. And the fact that they came to save her really means something to her.
Yeah, and it's even better because it's Rick Flag doing that and they've got a long-standing relationship. And just him in that trailer is so much better than he was in the first movie. It's almost like Joel Kinnaman can actually act.
Yeah, wow, what's up with that? I'm like, Jesus, Joel Kinnaman, you hid this under a bushel this whole time?
No, he was just given shit lines.
And again, to all the people they chose to bring back are great. I mean, Boomerang scraping shit off his shoe with a boomerang. That's good. I loved that. The new version of Ratcatcher looks great. Polka Dot Man being bright and colorful, but being very, very depressed as well.
Yes, and getting the guy who plays Abracadabra from The Flash to do it was perfect.
Man, he's been having a big week, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I hope we die. Even that whole scene, too, where they're all sitting there in, like, the auditorium and Waller's giving them their mission, that's straight up from the Ostrander years of Suicide Squad comics.
Yeah, Ostrander's in the trailer. He's the guy who
He
gives
is.
Michael Rooker's character the injection.
Savant. Which, that's so fucking dope. And I'm like, thank you, James Gunn, for appreciating the creators enough and putting them in here. Another thing that, has kind of been lacking at DC movies, the love and respect for the creators. Such a good cameo. Again, I mention this every time. John Ostrander has written some of your favorite things, everybody, and I have more Twitter followers than him. How wrong is that?
That's really wrong.
That's really wrong. Everyone go follow John Ostrander and thank him for all the good work he's done. And, of course, we got Stallone as King Shark. We finally figured out who was doing his voice.
That's fantastic. Everyone thought it was going to be Taika Waititi because he's in the film as well. But I think
he is going to be.
But I think he's voicing Starro.
I think so, too. Starro opens his mouth, and he's from New Zealand. Hi, everyone. I'm Starro. I'm here to eat your brains and take over the world. Which, even just that, hey, who's the villain of this new Suicide Squad movie going to be? Starro the Conqueror? Fuck yeah.
And I like it. It's kind of like the inverse of like, oh, the Justice League, that was like one of their first villains. It's it's one of the first Suicide Squad villains. That's actually kind of like a cool inverse.
That's a very, very good inverse. And I'm like, damn, they beat you to it, Justice League. They beat you to it.
That's because there's no Justice League on this earth.
No. Man, what a weird world we're in where this movie is probably going to be, like, so much better than the Justice League movie we got. A whole generation, Suicide Squad is where it's at. Yeah, this is good stuff. I am super, super hyped for this movie. I hope I'll get to see it in a theater in, what is that, August 5th?
Yes, August. I think 8th? It's also going to go on HBO Max as well.
Of course it is, unfortunately, until the world gets its shit together. I am hoping that I can hold out for a shot that time. That's probably around the time I'm going to get vaccinated at this rate. Yeah. How's Australia handling vaccinations? Are they like Canada, where everyone's pointing fingers and no one really knows?
Yeah, pretty much. We were meant to have 4 million people vaccinated by the end of March, and I think we've got less than 500,000.
Okay, so yes, all the colonies are in the same situation where we're looking at America like, hey, can we have some of that? Oh, geez, sorry, guys. We'd love to spare some vaccine, but we just can't right now. But you just lowered the age to 30 in New York State, and a bunch of people aren't even taking their vaccines. I'm sorry. Sorry. Hey, how them minerals and softwood lumber treating ya? It's good, right? We'll remember this next time. If it was us, we'd share with you. I love just every other country in the world is now the X, where it's like, I can't believe you did that to us. I thought we had something special. Come on, man. We'd help you. But yeah, Suicide Squad looks great. Cannot wait for it. This is jumped super high on my list of like must-see superhero movies.
Yeah, it looks really exciting. I'm looking forward as well to that Peacemaker series.
Same, yeah, now that we've kind of gotten a taste of what he's all about, where I'm like, yeah, I'd watch a show with him. I'd watch a show about this guy.
I'd just watch a show with John Cena in it. He's hugely charismatic.
Funny you should say that. He's the new host of Wipeout on TV. Yeah, him and Nicole Bayer, who I love Nicole Bayer, and I like John Cena, so I actually watched the first episode of that. I'm like, yeah, I could watch more of this show with them. Like, I know Wipeout was on another network, and I'm like, meh, whatever. And then I see it's like, ooh, Bayer and Cena, all right. I'm down for this. They're a winning couple for comedic purposes. Man, I hope they get Nicole Bayer in the Suicide Squad sequel, Suicide Squad 2. Man, can we just say how great Waller is in this, too? Because she's doing what she always did in the comics, and that is she's just the deadpan straight woman for all the craziness.
Yeah, she's not an expedition dump.
No, she's like, yes, that's your head. She's just the exasperated civil servant that she is in the comics. Yes,
having to deal with a team of losers every time.
You're the prisoners, but I'm actually locked in here with you too because they hate me as well. Which was very Ostranderish, and she's got like some dirty like back pocket plans that they don't know about.
Oh, she's like, Starro or something.
Yeah. She knew about it, and she knew all this. She's like, I didn't tell you. Yeah. Why? Because it's my job. I don't have to tell you. But yeah, Suicide Squad. Fuck yeah, can't wait.
Yeah.
I guess, too, they also announced we're finally going to be getting Black Widow, too, in June.
Yeah, July, I think.
July. They finally
June.
bit the bullet.
Yeah.
I want to say June, but it could be July. They finally bit the bullet and said, all right, we can't push it anymore. You'll get it day and date digital like you did with Raya and Mulan and everything.
Yeah, they released a new trailer for it, which looked really cool.
It did. Again, I'm excited for this. And again, just the idea like, hey, you're going to get a Marvel movie now, everyone.
Yeah, about time.
Yeah, there you
go.
I'm
I mean, the last couple
of
weeks we've had a Marvel movie every week.
Right? Every week, it's true. It's like, oh yeah, I had one of these movie things too. Man, this is just like a long episode of television. Okay, it is July 9th. I thought it was June 9th. Thank you, Cameron. So closer to my birthday, actually.
Nice.
Right on. I'll have some cake and watch The Black Widow. That's good.
Nice.
All right, what else we got going on here in the news this week? Philip Kennedy Johnson is going to be penning the Extreme Carnage series at Marvel following the end of King in Black, which has gotten delayed. In fact, several books have kind of spoiled it and been like, yeah, so and then they won.
Yeah, well, King in Black ends this week. But yeah, a few books have started to spoil it, like the Beta Ray Bill one and all that sort of stuff, yeah.
But yes, it's called Extreme Carnage. It's going to be about Carnage. But as you can see, all the other symbiote boys and girls.
Yeah, then Philip Kennedy Johnson he's getting so much goddamn work. He's got 2 Superman books.
I know.
He's 3 if you count House of L, Alien, this.
Man, did he like catch a leprechaun or something? Did he get 3 wishes? Because he is just fucking blowing up right now.
Yeah, I'm glad, because all the books I've read of him so far have been great.
Yeah, he seems talented. I mean, if anyone was going to be an overnight success, good on you, sir.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I probably wouldn't have read a Carnage book if I didn't read his other work and be like, oh, he's good. He can do cosmic horror, and he knows superhero stuff and story structure and emotion. Mm-hmm. I can dig it. I'm down for it.
Yeah, and it's going to spin out of King in Black, and yeah, I don't really know what's going to be happening with these characters, to be honest.
Same. But we got Carnage, we got Riot and Scream and Phage, and I think that's Toxin at the back, the red one. Mm-hmm. But we also have a classified person. Who's the classified person?
I don't know.
I mean, if Eddie Brock became Captain Universe, that means the Venom suit may very well be up for grabs.
Yeah, that could be what this series is about.
Maybe Flash Thompson, because Donnie brought him back, and I think that's, the ultimate, like, hey, Venom fans, I've been jacking you off this whole time, and it's felt really good, but you want me to bring it to completion? Oh, and Flash is back, and he's Venom again.
I mean, looking at the classified thing, I could see it because, like, this is just me. It's like he's got like the flat round head, unlike most symbiotes. It could be like his costume, like the armor.
Yeah, it's bulkier than the others, and he's got a big gun.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be the ultimate way there to be like, hey, Venom fans, I know not all of you loved my new series because you wanted Flash, but hey, I told my Eddie story. It's arguably maybe the best Eddie story told in forever. Yeah. And then, hey, at the very end, look, I also brought Flash back and reset it, so aren't you super happy now?
Yeah, well, again, depending on what happens in King in Black and Venom this week, like,
we'll find out.
For what we've seen, Flash Thompson just, like, went back to Earth.
He turned into a dragon, and he was there. And I mean, as we've seen before, and as they have, seed planted throughout Venom, the symbiote, when it's powerful enough and supercharged, can basically, like, birth life. Mm-hmm. So there you go. He was born again from the symbiotes and put in a new body.
Yep.
Or maybe it's Dylan. Maybe Dylan gets the suit and we get, like, a Venom Jr.
See, I think that's a bit too obvious.
I think it's a little too obvious, too. You're probably right.
Yeah.
But you never know. Again, I'm gonna put money on it now that it's gonna be a returned Flash Thompson of some variety, and we'll reconvene next week and we'll see if I'm right or not. I know things we say on this show have a funny habit of coming true.
Could be that. Could be Anne.
Yeah, could be Anne. That's another trigger they haven't pulled yet because they
teased it. They kind of teased it with that alternate Earth sort of thing.
Yeah. That Annie existed. They say she was dead because they went to her grave, right? In Ultimate Carnage, if I remember, or Maximum Carnage, whatever that one was.
Yes.
I can't remember. What it was. Is that there was something with her? But yeah, you're right. They never quite pulled the Annie trigger. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it could be because we had an Annie as an Agent Venom, so it might be Agent Venom, but it might be someone else.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. I'd be happy with either, honestly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there you go. There's your Carnage news, everyone, and there will be Carnage. There'll be Carnage all over the place. Yeah. And I guess with that, we can talk about what we read this week. And there was not much this week because it was Easter.
No, well, there hasn't been much over the last couple of weeks, and I love it because they're like spacing out the books really well. Both Marvel and DC.
They are. I like it because I can catch up on books that I need to catch up on. And also so I can experiment with new video types and review Invincible, which I really enjoy.
Oh, yeah, that animated show is so damn good.
Yeah, I guess we haven't had a chance to talk about Invincible yet. Yeah, Invincible is really strong. There is a ton of show in that show. Every episode is like 40 minutes, which blows me away.
Yeah, it's great.
Again, they take so much from the comic that is like word for word, scene for scene. They also move some stuff around, too, in interesting ways. The big twist, the thing that made everyone fall in love with Invincible, I don't think that like happened till the end of Volume 1. Here they kind of put it at the end of the first episode. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, because, you want to shock people and show them that this isn't your regular superhero show.
Yeah, and I love the turn in that as well, whereas, like, up until that part, you're like, oh, this is just, like, usual superhero stuff. This kid's gonna develop powers and fight crime with his father, and then it's just like, oh, he's, like slamming the Batman analog over and over into the ground and turning him into a meat puddle and all that sort of stuff.
It was beautiful to watch that show with someone because I knew what was going to happen, and I could see they were kind of bored. They're like, ugh, seen this 100 times. I'm like, no, stick with it. And then the end happened, and they're like, oh, it's that kind of story. I'm like, it is that kind of story, yes. Some other stuff they kind of moved around to, like certain characters that become villains later are like exhibiting villainous qualities now early on. Mm-hmm. And some other stuff is going super fast. Again, I know our mutual acquaintance and fellow creator, Mitch, who I think is maybe a bigger Invincible fan than me. I like Invincible and I respect it and everything, but I know his big complaint there, and I'm kind of like, yeah, all right. It's like it's moving too quickly.
It really is. Yeah, well, I think about by episode 4, we were like halfway through like the series. We were like on like issue 20 by that time, where he goes to Mars.
Yeah, that's like, well, that is issue 18. Because yeah. I know because one of the best parts of watching this on Amazon is I don't have to do any research for my videos. X-ray. I just have to, I just have to look at the sign. They're like, hey, everyone, did you know this was from episode? I'm like, oh, thanks, Amazon. You saved me from having to Google it or, go through my old comics and remember. And the voice cast. Holy shit, the voice cast.
So many, like, big stars. You wouldn't think that'd be lending their voices to, like, just an animated show.
Amazing actors that are there for a minute. What is it? Marshala Ali plays Titan, a one-off villain in the first episode. I'm like, that was fucking Marshala Ali.
Yeah, we got Clancy Brown voicing all these characters. Obviously, J.K. Simmons is Omni-Man. Steve Yeun is Mark. And
killing it.
Yeah, they're all just great. Sandra Oh as his mother.
Amazing, brings so much to that character. Debbie, they're also developing much quicker than the comic did. They actually, that whole 4th episode was like, no, she has agency before the bad thing happens that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. There's just so much to like about that show. It's also like, oh, so this is what a superhero show looks like when you put a bunch of money into it, huh?
Yeah. It looks fantastic. Like the flying scenes and like the way they move through like in battles and stuff just looks so damn cool.
The song choices: Vampire Weekend, Run the Jewels, Cage the Elephant, Holy Fuck, which is the name of a Canadian indie band. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, guys, you spared no expense on this. Where did you get the money? And then I'm like, oh yeah, you're Amazon. That's where you got the money. You got literal Amazon money to throw around. Usually for a show to be this good, they got to ink a deal with a toy company.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason Mantzoukas, who was amazing as Rexplode.
Yeah, and Zachary Quinto is voicing Robot. Seth Rogen is
Gillian
Alien.
Jacobs. Yeah, wow. Seth Rogen doing some amazing work. Hey, it's me, Seth Rogen. I produced The Boys.
I think he also
I'm
produces
doing great
this
for him
as well. This is like one of those shows that is like The Boys, Preacher, and this.
Did you ever think when you looked at Seth Rogen, redheaded, chubby Canadian funny man, he's going to produce some amazing television one day?
Yes, because all the television he's produced is stuff a stoner would watch.
True enough.
It's like comic books weird shit.
Yeah. Hey guys, I read this book one time and it's great. We should turn it into a thing. If only I had some money. Wait, I have a bunch of money. Oh shit.
Yeah, he just used his super bad money on this. He's still living off that.
He amazes himself every day when he wakes up that he has the money to make these things happen. And Amazon is like, yo, we want you to make this happen because we want to get in on this superhero comic show.
It's why I can forgive him for making stuff like American Pickle and all that. I'm like, yeah, you made that like kind of terrible film, but then you also...
Oh, I liked American Pickle.
I didn't like it at all. But then you made stuff like Preacher and The Boys, so I forgive you, Seth Rogen. And you get into slap fights with fucking the Zodiac Killer on Twitter.
That too. That's pretty great. Yeah, I can't blame you for not liking American Pickle because it's very twee, almost hipsterish, which is like something you wouldn't say Seth Rogen is, but like that's what that. It was also him like, no, look at me, I can act, I can play two parts.
Yeah, he shouldn't have played both parts. He shouldn't have played the younger character. He should have played the old guy.
I liked it because it was so fucking weird, where I'm like, wow, HBO Max actually gave him the money to do this weird-ass time travel pickle story. Holy shit. Yeah, so that's, what is it, Invincible, everybody, and it's been super, super cool. I guess if we're talking about television, we should talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier, too, because that's 4 episodes deep now.
It is, yeah.
Or no, 3 episodes deep
Well,
now.
It's on its 4th this week.
Right, it's on its 4th this week. We got our field trip with Zemo episode this week.
And it was great. Zemo was such a likable character.
He was, and then I'm like, oh, this is why you made him a Sokovian, huh? And not a descendant of a German Nazi, because it would be hard to make that guy funny and relatable and affable if he was a literal Nazi. So instead, he's a weird Sokovian. I'm like, good job, Marvel, for skirting that one, because I would hate to not like this guy. But yeah, he's fun and funny, and he gets into like an argument with like Bucky and Sam about frickin' Trouble Man. Even he loves Trouble Man. It's great. It's a great work. They go to fucking Madripoor. Holy shit.
Oh, we see the Princess Bar.
Oh my god, it's happening, Matt. It's happening.
And Madripoor looks exactly how like I wanted it to look as well.
It did. Like sleazy neon Thailand.
Yeah.
You feel like you're getting an STD just standing around there for too long. Get references to the Power Broker. Sam dresses up like a pimp, which I'm like, ooh, is that a little reference to Snap, your old original comic history before they changed it with the Cosmic Cube? I thought that was very fun. Agent 13 shows up, and she's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I love bitter Sharon Carter, a character who's like left behind by like the bigger characters. The Avengers left her behind. She's like the inverse of like say Zemo in a way.
Very much so. And like literally everything she's saying is true. Like, yeah, you guys became fugitives after I stole the shield, and then you guys got pardoned and I didn't, and no one called me for the end of the world, and now I'm living here in Madripoor.
Yeah, you guys just basically forgot about me. And yeah, it's absolutely true. Like Steve just never once forgot about her. She wasn't even at like Tony Stark's funeral or anything like that. Yeah, they just forgot her number.
Big character from the comics and just forgotten. Yes, as the chat says, she got her own John Wick fight scene. Absolutely.
Which is funny because this was written by the guy who writes the John Wick films.
Hey, how about that?
Well, you could tell because they got all the text messages at the same time. There was great one shot action scenes, and yeah.
Holy shit. Oh, that's fun. That's very fun. I like that so much. And then just when you thought like, man, what a great episode, what's going to happen next? Then Wakanda shows up.
Yeah, we get some Dora Milaje.
Which makes a lot of sense because they even signposted earlier in the episode where it's like, yeah, we can't let this Baron guy out. He killed King T'Chaka. Did you forget? The Wakandans didn't forget.
Yeah, and of course they know already that he's been broken out.
Yeah, and gotta track him down, gotta kill him. Even more interesting stuff too, where it's like, hey, so when Sokovia was destroyed, what happened with that? Oh, the other nations cannibalized, and I'm like, oh, cool.
That could be like the perfect way to bring in like Latveria, like Sokovia
was a small
Sokovia
nation
becomes
until
Latveria, basically.
Yeah. Like, yes, it was a small unknown nation until the blip when it got absorbed by its neighbors.
Yeah, and its leader, Victor Von Doom, like, took a chance and, like, took the country.
Ooh, yeah, that's a layup. You're absolutely right. They're doing a lot of interesting background stuff with the blip. Like, they're not actually talking about it in the show, but it's like under the surface where it's like, yeah, 5 years was gone, which, you know, completely supercharged the whole haves and have-not stuff that we already have now. Like, yeah, if you were an owner of a Fortune 500 company or something and you disappeared, yeah, people would take that away from you, but you could at least come back to something and maybe fight your way back. But if you were already poor, like the Flag Smashers and everything, then you've got absolutely nothing now, even if you were just struggling before.
Yeah, and like everything, like all like financial institutions and all that have like changed like their laws and everything, as we saw in like the first episode where like Sam wasn't allowed, despite being an Avenger and saving the world and all of that sort of stuff. And a veteran couldn't even get a bank loan.
Because banks are already shitty, and if they have a reason to be predatory and fuck people over, they will. And apparently they're fucking everyone over, which is why the Flag Smashers are doing what they're doing. In fact, they really sympathize the Flag Smashers in this episode, while also doing the whole, the super soldier serum, it enhances whatever was already in you, and one of them is already going a little further.
Yeah, and now I've got a theory, because like we don't get a lot of John Walker in this episode.
We do not.
But the scene we get where he basically acts like a petulant child because some guy spat at him. I reckon that like he's actually got the super soldier serum in him. But what's happened is that he was like taking it in like doses. Like whenever he'd go out in the field, he'd take a little bit and it'd like supercharge him.
Right.
And with the Flag Smashers taking the serum, that shipment of serum for themselves, it like cut off his supply. So that's why he's gunning so hard for them. It's not something to do. It's veiled in that, oh, we got to protect America sort of thing. But he's really going after, like, maybe even he doesn't know that. Like his superiors have told him that, and he doesn't realize that or something.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a twist with that. I know some people theorize that maybe in the final moments it'll come down to a thing like, oh, there's one vial of super soldier serum left. You know, Sam, if you take this, you could become just like Steve. But, oh, Walker wants it for himself. But, you know, Sam beats him anyway without it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, again, like what we've heard about the serum, it like enhances already ingrained like attitudes and stuff, which is why like Steve was so good with it, and someone like Emil Blonsky turned into a giant rage monster. Yeah, again, it could be something like that where like John is like that middle ground where he doesn't turn into a giant monster, but he is like,
but he becomes a bigger asshole.
He's a real dickhead when he's on it.
Which, again, I kind of like how subtle they're playing John Walker. He's not an in-your-face guy. He's not wearing a red hat or anything. He's just he's an undercover asshole. He's a subtle asshole.
He's exactly how he is in Christopher Priest's current US Agent series.
And again, as I said before, I love that Battlestar is his partner, so he can be like, no, look at my black friend. Look at my one black friend.
That's exactly how it is, yeah.
That's totally what he is now. I'm like, you know what? That's fine, because that's also like, look, but if he tests really well and if people like him, we're totally doing the US Agent show. Because how cool is that black costume, right? Yeah. And I'm like, it's pretty fucking cool, actually. I'm not going to lie. Like, half the reason John Walker has maintained is because the name U.S. Agent and the costume is really cool. Good. Yeah. Is really, really good. So, yeah, there's your Falcon and Winter Soldier update. Only 3 more episodes left.
Yeah, it's strange that it's only 6 episodes. And we're like halfway through the season already.
They're putting a lot of stuff in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Which, again, I like that. I like that all the Marvel shows are different. Hey, you know, we have lengths, that are decided by the content and what they need to be. WandaVision was a mystery. It needed to be longer.
Yeah, it needed to be longer, and the episodes were shorter to drive that tension, whereas here it's a bit more point A to point B sort of thing.
It's an action movie.
So we can have them be 50-minute episodes.
Dark Ballasteel really gets in the comments section there. He's like, yeah, my black friend who's more qualified
that was
than
the
me.
thing in last week's or the week before's US Agent book where Battlestar got his shit pushed in by the new US Agent who was angry at Battlestar because he's more qualified yet still bent the knee to John Walker.
That's funny. That's interesting. There's a lot of stuff. Even better because you know it's Christopher Priest who's writing it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure that's coming from a very real place from Priest when he writes it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know how many comic jobs I've been, passed over for when I know I'm better? But yeah, that was good. All right, I guess we can talk about comics this week. What comics do you want to talk about, Matt? Because there was only a few.
There was only a few. What did I have? I had The Flash, issue 768.
Yeah, I meant to pick this up. This is the big, Wally's first outing as the Flash. I heard the art wasn't great in this one.
Really? I fucking love the art in this.
Really? Yeah. Okay, yeah, some people tell me it wasn't great. I don't know if you're saying it's good then.
Yeah, so we pick up the issue and Wally quits being the Flash.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I heard that too. It's like, hey, everyone, it's finally time I quit.
Yeah, he quits but he's got very good reasons, and that is his family is now back together. Everything seems to be quite stable with them now. His kid.
Oh, really? Kids, it's because of death metal.
Yeah, his kids are like all fine now. Linda's fine.
Wow, that's got to be the biggest change from death metal. Actually,
so he just wants to spend time with his family and not.
I mean, fair.
Not do the superhero thing. So, to make sure he doesn't do the superhero thing, he asks Barry to take away his Speed Force powers. Something Barry can do in the Speed Force because he's done it to like Eobard Thawne and Zoom and all that sort of stuff. So they end up doing that. They go for one last run into the Speed Force, and something happens, and Wally disappears, and Flash has to figure out where exactly he went, and we find out that the Speed Force kidnapped Wally, or kidnapped his consciousness, and is putting it in speedsters from all across time. So the first one he gets put into is a caveman who had access to the Speed Force, whose arch nemesis is a Speed Force wielding Velociraptor.
Naturally.
And Wally's trying to figure out how to get back into the Speed Force, while the Flash, who doesn't actually have his powers, and none of the other Flashes have their powers either because of this thing that happened in the Speed Force, try and figure out a way to reach Wally, which is what they end up doing in reaching in through the Speed Force and learning that he's traveling through the universe and multiverse and timelines to help heal the Speed Force in some way. As Mr. Terrific thinks, they think the Speed Force took him because it's punishing him for what he has done with his powers, because they like Heroes in Crisis and him sitting on the Metron chair and everything, and stuff like that.
That's okay, I can dig it.
And he ends up getting like catapulted through time again into the future, into the body of Impulse.
I saw that too, which funny timing because they've cast Impulse for the Flash TV show.
Yeah, and before he can do anything, he is met by the Booster Gold of that time, which was the one from the Black Adam backup in Future State. The future, the female one, and they're gonna fight the Dominators.
Interesting. Okay, that sounds like a good set. You did a better job selling that to me than the other people I talked to trying to sell it.
Green Arrow is a big part of the book as well.
But what?
Yeah, he's like second lead basically. He's like teaming up with Flash to sort of figure out how to get Wally back, and it's funny because like at the start, because Wally wants to give up and Barry is trying to convince him not to, and Oliver's like, no, let him give up. If he wants to give up, let him do that. It's probably safer for all of us if he did that. I wish he said something about doing this before he went to Sanctuary.
Hey man, that's all you gotta say.
Yeah, it's great. It's great that Green Arrow's been in more stuff lately than he has all through Rebirth.
Yeah, well, what's up with that? Take away his book and he only becomes more prominent. Yeah. You know, actually, too, I think he's getting one of those, like, unreleased DC Vault stories this week, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that next one. I haven't been picking up those DC Vault titles, even though there's some stuff I like Chip Zdarsky did a Suicide Squad, but yeah, apparently there's a Green Arrow book in that. I'm like, all right.
Nice, and he's getting that big anniversary and everything.
That's right. And rumors and rumblings that Joshua Williamson might be doing a new Green Arrow book at some point.
Yeah, well, he brought Connor Hawke back in Detective Comics, so yeah.
That he did. It would be weird to bring him back and then just have him be a supporting character in Robin. Yeah. Speaking of which, they introduced some new characters for that Robin run. There's going to be a Cat Girl, who's going to be fighting in the tournament, and a Junior Deathstroke, who may or may not be Deathstroke.
Yeah, I like that book's going to be a tournament book.
Same. I'm like, all right, very anime, very Mortal Kombat.
We've been
I'm
getting a
down
lot of
for
them
it.
lately. We got Exosaurs, we got what's happening in the
It's true.
Avengers book at the moment. When we got this, yeah, it's great.
Tournaments are hot right now.
All the
man.
writers are starting to watch anime now because they've got nothing else to
They
do.
really. What if a big tournament arc? I like it. I actually do think, like, there was a time there where I'm like, man, you can't do anything that'll make me interested in reading a Robin book. What if Connor Hawk's in it and there's a Mortal Kombat fight tournament? All right, I'm listening.
I'm in.
I'm in. All right, you did it, Joshua. This is why you were on Flash for 100 issues. This is why they pay you the big bucks. You're an idea man. You won me over. Now who's gonna rip whose heart out? I wonder. What else was this week? Beta Ray Bill was this week.
Yeah, what a goddamn depressing and sad book this was.
I often
Which is
say
good.
this,
That's me saying that it was brilliant.
It is. I often say this, and I mean it in the sweetest way possible. This was the feel-bad comic of the year, everybody.
It really was.
Beta Ray Bill tries so hard to defend Asgard from, like, the remaining forces of Null, even though he doesn't have Stormbreaker because crazy King Thor broke it. He fights and bleeds and does everything while remembering his own dark past of being tortured and experimented on as a child, only to have King Thor come back and save everyone in seconds, despite the fact that, you know, Bill tried so
Just
hard.
one-shot Fin Fang Foom.
Yep, and is done, and everyone loves Thor and, you know, freaking worships the ground that Thor walks. Thank you, what is it, M. Vicious Cosplay, appreciate it, and thank you someone else who subscribed also there. We were so deep in conversation, I didn't get a chance to see it there. Who subscribed? Oh, it was early on the show. Cameron, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, always much appreciated whenever that happens, but... Yeah, Beta Ray Bill, just so much fun. The only person who even gives him a slight bit of regard is frickin', you know, Pip the Space Troll.
Yeah, who's living on Scuttlebutt with him.
Yeah, just, and just when you think, like, well, at least it can't get that much worse, you know, at least he's got his, you know, budding relationship with Sif to fall back on. Oh, no!
Oh, she blue-balled him.
Yeah, she finds him to be a disgusting horse monster, and she's not horny enough or drunk enough to get down with that because Bill can't take his human form again because he doesn't have Stormbreaker anymore, and that was the only thing that allowed him to do it. Shit. Oh, man. And then when he leaves, she was like, you know, I'm fucking out of here. I'm done with all this Asgardian bullshit. Thor says, like, the worst stuff possible to him.
Oh, Thor in this is just such a dick.
He is, and some people are like, oh, that was so out of character for him. Nah, it's perfectly in character for him now. Because he's a drunk, mad king right now, scared about the end of the world. And also, what he basically says is like, what, you're mad at me for saving your life? You're mad at me for breaking your hammer? Yeah, well, I'm Thor. It's what I do. Yeah. And you always come back because this is the unhealthy relationship we have.
Yeah, but Beta Ray Bill says, fuck that. I'm going off into space to find your dad, and he's going to make me a hammer, and I'm going to fucking... hurt you badly with it.
Yeah. Which is funny because that means they found Odin for the end of that Thor story, then lost him again.
Yeah, he just disappeared into the bars of the 10 realms somewhere.
Yeah, just wandered off into the night. This was a really great story on multiple levels, especially it's kind of like, yeah, what would it be when you become a side character in your own life, and what do you need to do to kind of break out of that and kind of, you know, get agency for yourself? That's basically what this story is. It's Beta Ray Bill's, you know, quest for agency in his own life.
It's Beta Ray Bill trying not to be a beta.
Wow, holy shit. Put that on the book jacket, everyone. Call me Alpha Ray Bill now. Fuck. God damn, that's good. I mean, the concept is bullshit, but it's a funny-ass joke. Yeah. How's Odin paying for those drinks? Come on, man. You gonna make Odin pay for a drink?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go near him.
Yeah. I'll kill you all. Fill my glass. I'll bring lightning down here. I'll shoot you with the Odin Force. You don't have the Odin Force. Want to try me?
Maybe he just like plays off the Alzheimer's again. It's like he doesn't remember paying for the drink, and it's like, I paid for it, and I'm an old man, and just like wanders out.
Steal my headcanon. I don't care if Donny Cates didn't bring it up. That's my headcanon. He faked Alzheimer's just to get out of it.
That's literally what happened. I'm sure of it. Like, he literally did it just to get away from his problems.
for all the bad stuff he had done
Yeah.
previously.
Yeah, I get that's totally something he would do.
He's the goddamn Fred Sanford of space. I'm coming, Freya. Oh, I'm dying. No, you're not. Can only fake so many heart attacks. But yeah, this book is a masterclass in how to build sympathy for a character that some people might not care
Absolutely.
about. Just literally have the world take a massive dump on him in the first first 22 pages, and then be like, okay, you're at your absolute lowest. How do you build yourself up now? And I'm totally in for this for this journey.
Absolutely.
And Daniel Warren Johnson not only wrote it, but he drew it too.
Yeah, he's pulling double duty on that.
Yeah, he's good. He's good when it comes to what is it? Sword and sorcery fantasy fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he did Last God, or did that Wonder Woman? That recent Wonder Woman
he did
one.
Dead Earth.
Yeah,
definitely. So yeah, that was Beta Ray Bill. Good stuff.
Yeah, we had X-Men this week as well.
We did, yeah, we absolutely did. The continued adventures in the Vault. I thought the Vault story was done, but apparently not.
Well, I think it is now, or at least for now.
Yeah, my assumption was when they blew it up, I'm like, yep, can't go back to this one now.
Yeah, well, apparently they can.
Because the Vault can heal itself, and the 3 characters we follow can heal themselves, too.
Yes, and again, that's why they were hired for this, because their minds have that healing factor, and it can, regrow the memories and retain them for longer.
And so long as they stay together, they could survive in the Vault for who knows how long, and they'll have to, because they were there for over 50 years.
Over 100 years.
Oh, was it? Because I know in the first place, the first 50 years was the hardest, so I'm like, oh, so you were there for longer than 50 years.
Yeah, and then when Sync got captured, he mentioned something about 100 years, and there was those charts as well.
Right.
That sort of
right, of course.
Talk about it.
They're there so long they can't tell you every single thing that happened. You have to read the appendices.
Yeah.
And they learn a lot of stuff about the Vault, how it works, the kind of state that they've been in, and basically every time that the children of the Vault have interacted with mutants, they've had to evolve themselves to the next level over and over and become more and more dangerous every time.
Yep, they've either been defeated by the mutants, or they've been captured by Orchis and used as weapons against the mutants. Every time they've had to evolve into something new until the newest 3rd generation, which is what we see in this book.
Mm-hmm. And they're there so long that Sync and Laura end up actually forming, kind of like a romantic relationship, which, man, it's got to suck if you're fucking Darwin, being the third wheel for over 100
the one
years.
Who's always getting his arms cut off and used as we'll cut your arm off and sprinkle it around the rubble and they'll think you died.
Yeah, really just, poor guy. Rough. It's rough in there. He grows a freaking cool beard and everything. There's Sync when they have him, and he escapes, and it's all very freaking Gladiator, because there's a big coliseum and shit.
Yeah, they're doing something with Darwin, which I assume is just taking his powers and putting him in the making them so the children can adapt and evolve when need be.
Because, hey, as we've seen, you mutants are actually evolving too because of what's going on with the resurrection protocols, and you may actually be able to out-evolve us one day. So we're going to take a little mutant DNA inside ourselves now to become even more highly evolved life forms.
Yeah, and we're going to go wipe out all of mutant kind.
Oops.
And, Sync and Wolverine manage to escape, and Wolverine stays behind to fight off the Horde, and Sync escapes and tells Xavier everything, and Laura's reborn, but she can't remember their relationship.
Because she died inside, Sync died outside of it.
So she's only got her memories up till they entered the Vault.
Yeah, so isn't that the ultimate trait? We lived a whole life together and loved each other for 100 years, and you don't remember any of it now.
Yeah, that sucks.
That sucks real hard. And also asks, again, a lot more philosophical questions when it comes to these resurrection protocols, and that is, if you can remember a whole life, and, if you have all these experiences that change you and mold you and everything, and if the resurrection protocols can mess with that and manipulate that, they can basically make you not the same person on the other side.
Yeah, pretty much.
Isn't that truly horrifying? They're not using it in that way yet. Well, what if they did?
Not that we know of.
Well, I guess they technically kind of did it for Domino, because Domino's like, take all my traumatic memories out, please. Yep. And they're like, okay, and that pissed off Colossus, because he's like, no, the trauma is what makes you who you are. You just can't do away with it. But also, what will this mean for Sync now? Because he has 100 years under his belt.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll be. It ended kind of on a happy note where he's like, "Oh, I'll try and like get that back," but as well as that, it could also go the way where he just becomes really jaded and like cynical.
Yeah, he just goes nuts. Yeah, it definitely ends on a bittersweet ending where it's like, the thing about love is that, I can fall in love with you all over again, and so few people get that chance. Is this the best Sync story ever written?
well, it's not a very high bar.
No, it isn't, but I'm just like, this is the cool thing about the Hickman era. It's like, yeah, I'm going to take a character like Sync and write the best Sync story you've ever had. I bet you never thought you'd feel bad about Sync at the end. But there you go. Now you feel bad about him, and I do. Poor Sync, man. But yeah, so that was X-Men, and X-Men was pretty cool.
It was.
Very, very science fiction. Very, very sci-fi. What else did you want to talk about, Matt?
Well, we talked about it a little bit before, but I had US Agent issue 3.
Right, okay. Yeah, see, I kind of dropped off on this one. Really liked the first issue.
Yeah, I'd say
never
keep
with
picking it up as now that like John Walker's like very popular now as well. I think a lot of people are going to want to read this, and they have every right to, because this issue was amazing.
Nice.
So we get a little bit of backstory on the new US agent who was revealed in the final page of last issue, and
they replaced the replacement.
Yeah. Well, we find out exactly why John Walker was kind of kicked out and deactivated, and that is he got caught in between a bunch of protesters and men and like riot gear who were trying to defend a testing site in Puerto Rico, and he was sent down there to end the protesters and didn't want to do that. He wanted to try and sort it out amicably, but then over a course of unfortunate events with the guards all just being literally like fish and game people, like people who just itchy trigger fingers, and that they took some of what John was saying as like code to like fire, and they ended up like ruining the whole operation.
So a bunch of conspiracy theorists saw signs where there weren't any? Shit.
Yeah. Funny that. Yeah, he got fired and everything. So, and him being reactivated for this mission in Ephraim was like a mistake. They weren't meant to do it. It was like a filing error, basically. So this new US agent has been sent in to clean up his mess, and this new US agent, whose name is April Manning, is like, it's funny because like, again, it kind of feeds into that what I was saying before, where it's like in Falcon Winter Soldier, how John Walker was probably like juicing every now and then when he goes into battle, because that's what this guy does. Because when you see him, he's just like this kind of scrawny, like millionaire business guy who does like like lectures at Harvard and everything, and then he gets activated and he injects himself with this like glowing stuff, and he like bulks up and he grows a mustache, and they call him the Saint.
Oh, that's it. What's his costume look like?
It's like a you know what it actually looks like? It actually looks like the Comedians.
Really? Okay, that's fun. That's kind of cool.
He goes to Ephraim to sort of deal with what John Walker has done, which is kind of not his job, which was to find a fuel cell that went missing from the facility that was hidden there to contain the asset. We don't know what the asset is, but we do at the end.
But we know it blows up the town at some point.
As well as that, Val Cooper, his John's old handler, has sent in Battlestar to sort of talk John down and trying to get him to like
how fun
come back. Battlestar now has like a family, his baby and everything, so it's kind of reluctant for him to go, but he goes anyway and makes contact with this new US agent who just beats the ever-loving shit out of him, because the new US agent doesn't have a problem really with John Walker, but he has a huge problem with Lamar Hoskins because of how he let himself be treated all those years by being called Bucky and being
which we talked about the history of that before,
and
didn't
bending the knee to someone who was lesser than him when he had the best test scores and all that sort of stuff. So he holds a real grudge against him for that, and as he says, he basically betrayed their struggle. And as we learn, the new US agent is a student of Maury, which was the little Asian guy who was like teaming with John Walker, and we don't really know a lot about him, whether he was like another agent that had been hired to do the job as well. But I think in the next issue we learn a little bit more about him. But yeah, the thing that they were actually protecting in that facility was a shield helicarrier, which rises up out of the ground and just like destroys the town.
This feels very much like a spec script for like a U.S. Agent spin-off show.
It feels like that because you got like all the stuff with like, you got all this stuff, but then also you got like John Walker's like history, like he got saved when he was a little kid in like a fire by what he thought was Captain America, but really it was his brother Mike, who then later, because he had PTSD and wasn't getting help from being a vet and everything, he actually ended up committing suicide, and and John blocked that from his mind, making himself think that his brother was killed in like a chopper crash, and he fought off like terrorists and what, making him up to be more than what he was and whatnot. And he's got his sister's like the bad guy, who's trying to take this shield helicarrier for some reason, who's gone insane thanks to toxic fumes that have like seeped out of this facility and everything. It's really fucking good. It's really good.
Yeah. And again, like a lot of Christopher Priest work, they jump around in time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'll definitely have to go back. That sounds like, Priest is bringing an interesting layered take on a character who can easily be hateable because, well, he did that with Deathstroke, too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This book you could have easily just put this book out as like, this guy is like a MAGA chud. He's stomping around, hurting people. Isn't he totally evil, guys? Don't do that. Actually makes John Walker likable.
Yeah, actually, which is even more of a feat.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I'll have to go back and check that one out. He's likable, but he's still a dumbass.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it was the issue before this. He's like, I like these people in this town because they're Hicks and they believe in Jesus and guns and barbecue. He literally says that.
Yeah. Yep. That's John Walker for you. Yep. Yeah. That's the character, everybody. That's funny. I guess you talked about USH. I guess I'll talk about Captain America because that came out this week as well. Issue 28, Ta-Nehisi Coates' run is almost done. I believe it's done at 30. And we're doing the last big hurrah for his story with the Lucans, the Red Skull, and Steve trying to repair his image. In the last arc, Red Skull's daughter literally showed him the internet for the first time.
I remember you telling me about that, yeah.
And he's like, yo, this is great. And he literally just becomes Jordan Peterson. Literally, he has 100 videos being like, what did Bismarck know? The barbarians at the gate. Reclaim your manhood, America.
That's great.
And like, it's just like that. And Steve's like, I don't know how to fight this. And Sharon's like, yeah, I know you don't. And that's the problem. He's actually like embraced the internet and technology before you.
Which is funny, yeah, because Steve had more than enough time to do that, but never did.
But he didn't. And now the Red Skull's just like totally up in the air. There's some really great stuff with Sin and Alexa, because obviously Alexa was one of the founding members of the Daughters of Liberty, and a big part of this story is, Alexa fighting with Peggy, who was like her student and protege, and now Alexa's kind of trying to replace Peggy with Sin, and she's like, I believe in you. I think you can actually get outside your father's shadow and basically become a villain unto your own right. Which actually does motivate Sin to like be smarter and do like more stuff than she ever did before, and kind of make her more dangerous just because someone believes in her. And the whole big plot is like, okay, so we need to get Captain America in a situation where Sin can poison him, and then I can get the new version of the Skeleton Crew, which is literally just a bunch of dudes on forms that I dressed up to beat the shit out of Captain America so I can record it and then do Captain America Exposed on my YouTube channel.
Oh, geez, that's great.
That's literally Red Skull's plot. It's like, look how weak Captain America is, and he had to be saved by a woman. He had to be saved by Sharon Carter in the Iron Patriot suit.
To be saved by Kathleen Kennedy and Brie Larson. And
basically, yes. That's like more or less what his plan is. And Steve's like, well, I'm not worried. I've been beaten in public before. I'll just go back and get him next time. Sharon, that's what I do. And Sharon's like, you don't fucking get it, Steve.
You goddamn boomer.
Yeah, like he is winning this internet offensive now, and like unless you get on his level, they're not only gonna kill you, Steve, they're gonna literally crush the pillars of, you know, what makes you you. Because like Red Skull actually gives like a really interesting speech, whereas like, you know, Steve always talks about the dream, you know, the American dream that drives him, the dream that's bigger and more important than anything. And Skull's like, that's bullshit. You know why? Give a man a dream and he'll, you know, die 10 times over for it. But my idea is give a man a nightmare. Give him something to be afraid of. Tell him that something has been taken from him that makes him weak, and that the only way he can be strong is by killing for it. Oh, he'll kill 100 times over for a nightmare. And I'm like, wow, like Red Skull is barely doing anything, and he's more evil than he's been in a long time.
Oh, wow.
And of course, they add an extra little thing on top of it there where Red Skull's like, oh yeah, and all the hate energy that's going on, I'm actually siphoning it off magically to fill my cosmic cube.
Of course.
Because it always comes down to the goddamn cosmic cube.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure, you know, Coates will use that to, you know, put any toys back in the box that he needs to.
Oh, yeah, it'll reset everything, yeah.
Yeah, this feels very much like, okay, I got one arc left, well, I'm just going to do whatever I want.
I'm going to go ham on it, yeah.
I'm going to go super ham, because, like, everything before this was, like, very subtle and very subdued and very, like, Aaron Sorkin political thriller, very dry and everyone talky. This one is just 11 balls to the wall, I'm going to do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's very funny, and it's very interesting and goes places you don't expect. Yeah. And again, too, it's also just as much Sharon's story as it is Steve.
Yeah, that's like when I tapped out of the book, that's what it was. It was very much a Sharon story.
It is, because again, you know, everything with the Lukens, like Luken is more her enemy than anything, because it's everything to do with her aunt and everything else, and it's an interesting way to take it.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, check that one out, everyone. And then, of course, when the book is done, it'll be interesting to see where it goes after that. I know Cantwell is going to have the United States of Captain America, but I think that's just a short before they pick, like, a brand new writer.
I'd love if he wrote that book. The stuff he's doing on Iron Man at the moment is just so damn good.
So I've heard, yeah, they might give him that book just because. Yeah, I don't know who you follow, Ta-Nehisi Coates, but I really don't. I don't know what direction you go in.
Maybe go back to just, like, your classic Kappa adventures for a little bit.
I guess. I mean, Wade also kind of did that, and I feel like that's what United States of Captain America is going to be, because he's traveling America and meeting other Captain Americas.
Yeah.
Someone said Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, do Metal Gear Solid with Captain America. I like that. Yeah, you could, too. It's like, every battlefield, I will build a nation for soldiers. Join us, Cap. That's actually, like, yeah, how the fuck has no one done that, actually? That's a really good
The
pitch,
villain
actually.
is like an evil elderly clone of, like, Steve. Which arguably Red Skull is, because that body used to be Steve's, but they don't bring that fact up anymore because it gets really fucking confusing. Yeah. Hey, they never did mention what happened to Steve-ul, the Secret Empire one. His face got all burnt up, and then we never saw him again, but they never said one way or another if he was dead or not. Yeah, he's technically not dead, so yeah. Could bring him back.
He's
Nick Spencer's coming back to Captain America.
Yeah, hey boys, Daddy's home. Gonna finally answer who the Kraken was, and also Boomerang is in this book now too, and Ant-Man. Because why not? I'm okay with that. Oh no, we bring back original Nick Fury in that. There you go. He can be Big Boss.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, original Nick Fury technically is, like, free now.
He is, yeah. And no one's done anything with it or even tried to rebuild S.H.I.E.L.D. yet. I had a pitch for the longest time there, back after Secret Empire, where I'm like, okay, they're going to have to rehab Cap's image anyway. And I was literally, if I could have pitched the book, I would have called it Captain America and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mm-hmm. And again, that's just what it have been. It would have been like superhero procedural where Captain America's like traveling America, helping out and trying to rehab his image.
Well, hell, they could still do that.
They could.
Like, maybe this arc, Ta-Nehisi's Code, ends with them, like, canceling Captain America, like, over Twitter.
Yeah, really.
And he's got to go on, like, a nationwide sorry tour or something.
I mean, technically they already did when they framed him for General Ross's murder. And even before that, that's what the Wade run was him going through America being like, sorry. Have I like literally the last 2 runs of Captain America has just been him apologizing for Secret Empire.
There you go. Take it in the other way. He's done apologizing.
I like that too. That's an even better way. I'm Captain America, done apologizing, red, white, and fuck you. That's the new run. Unapologetic Captain America. That's funny. I like that. What else? I had like one other book to talk about.
I've got one more as well.
All right, which one did you have?
I had Generations Forged, issue 1.
Oh yeah, what was this one?
It was a fucking slog. It took me 2 weeks to fucking do.
Did it? That's a shame.
Yeah, and it was only a slog because this was very obviously meant to be like 3 or 4 issues, and they crammed it all into one issue. If this was 3 or 4 issues, it would have been fine. And that's not to say the story's not fun. The story's actually quite fun. It's like a love letter to like Crisis of Infinite Earth, 0 Hour, all those stories and everything.
I can see how that might get tedious
yeah,
at a point.
And it's like 80 pages.
Yeah, they did just jam a lot of content together.
But yeah, no, it continues off the Shattered book that came before it, and Dominus has sent all these the remaining heroes throughout time and space, and most of the book is just them trying to figure out how to come back together because they had no idea how to get back to the vanishing point. So we've got like Dr. Light, Commandian, Starfire on Krypton, helping Jor-El sort of deal with the fact that Krypton's going to explode thanks to the sun. Dr. Light helps them, buying them a few extra months, so that allows Kal-El to be born and sent off to Earth. We got Batman, Booster Gold, and Sinestro in Electric City, dealing with the ultra rich and builder friends who just explode and try and take people's money and everything. Batman, because it's the 1940s, Batman has no idea what the fuck is going on, because he's like, what the fuck is all this AI and flying cars and what the fuck's going on? Steel and Superboy end up getting trapped on ancient Thanagar and fight dinosaurs.
This does sound like a lot.
Yeah, and it's all fun stuff. It's all really fun stuff, but yeah, spread it out. Again, like Superboy wants to know about his future, but because Steel got literally taken out just as Superman was killed by Doomsday, like he's like, I can't tell you anything about your future. Just that you need to be there. You can't die here because you have to die later. So then I become something. They all end up coming back together and figuring out that Dominus, who in a really cool and creative bit, had like extracted a piece of time, and this piece of time is like all in black and white. And it's like 50 set. It's like WandaVision. It's like 50 set. It's like 50 set, and like he's got like his family there, but they're not really his family. They're like a construct of his long dead family, and like he had to erase time to create this. And if he wants to keep this, he has to keep erasing time to power his piece of extracted time, which is why he was erasing it. But we find out he actually wasn't technically erasing it. What he was doing was he was moving it and like pausing it and just like putting it in archive basically. And the heroes end up fighting him and stopping him and putting time all back together. And we learn that all of the heroes that were in this book all come from something called the Linearverse. And the Linearverse...
Oh, yes. I remember this was a big story. The
Linearverse, we find out, is that every person in the Linearverse ages slowly. So in 50, 100 years, they will still technically be the same age they are now. So their youth and vitality, as Wave Rider says, will carry on for decades, and they'll be able to bring in the new generation of heroes and everything. So the Batman we see in the 1940s is the modern day Batman still in this Linearverse. And so there's a universe out there in the Omniverse where the original Batman, the original Superman, original Flash are all the originals, yeah. And that's left on like a cliffhanger. It's like, yeah, this universe now exists. Go play in it.
All right, Grant Morrison. And everything happened to one person in their life.
Yeah, it's a very Grant Morrison thing. And again, it's Robert Venditti, Andy Schmidt, and Dan Jurgens writing it.
Right. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that I feel that's exactly what Generations was supposed to be here. We've created a new sandbox you can play in it if you want.
I imagine we probably will get something from that, because that's like, think of all the shit that you could do in that universe.
Yeah, or what if things never changed? What if it was exactly the same and you never had to, change it around?
Yeah.
None? That's all right. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Last book I read this week was The Other History of the DC Universe 3.
Oh, how was this? I did see some pages from it.
So this is about Katana and about the Asian American experiences told through the eyes of DC superhero comics. And it is both a shame but also a great boon that this book had to come out at the time when it did, when anti-Asian American hate crimes are at an all-time high in the United States. But boy, yeah, this one goes deep, and much like the two issues that preceded it, pulls absolutely zero punches in the way it tells its story. First off, Tatsu's life is very tragic and very sad. Her family is murdered by her brother-in-law because she turned down his sexual advances. She lived on the streets and got a job as an assassin because she could swing a sword and everything, and just, went around killing people because, hey, 80s Japan, super technologically advanced, but super behind the times on social issues, and especially women's issues. So that was all she could do for money. A big departure they actually make in this version of the story. Her sword is not magical.
Oh, really?
No, and she's not even a martial artist, as she says, look, I'm a pretty good gymnast. And yes, I talk to my sword, not because it's magic, but because I had horrible PTSD from my husband getting decapitated and my children burning alive.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Well, it's horrible,
an interesting
but
take.
It's an interesting take.
It's an interesting take, and she's like, look, everyone assumed that I was this amazing martial artist because I'm Japanese. And I'm like, sure, whatever. They can believe whatever they want if they want this, positive stereotype bullshit. I'll use it to my advantage. And she's like, look, yeah, I was willing to go into these fights because I didn't care if I lived or died. And eventually I just kind of picked it all up as I went. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's a very interesting take to be like, hey, all this Asian mysticism, martial arts stuff that we take, as a given for every Asian character. What if we just take it away?
That's cool.
It is. Again, it's different than the other two ones because, the Mal Duncan, Bumblebee, and Black Lightning both are like, no, all that stuff still happened. This one is like, no, it happened, but not the way you think it did.
The people in that story assumed the way it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, this is different because this is Tatsu telling her story.
That's cool.
To everyone in a way that's never been told before. And we see her, join the Outsiders and everything. And, man, she has a really funny read on Batman where she's like, yeah, I respected Batman because he created his own legend, but I doubt he was able to do everything he did without killing anybody. Also, he let me on the team.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah. Also, he let me on the team despite the fact that I'm a killer. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that did happen in the original Outsiders. Oh, yeah, the guy who wrote the Outsiders at that time had some very different takes on Batman as well. I love that we've canonized this. And, she talks about the first time coming to America and all the different Asian exclusion acts and the Japanese internment of people during World War II. And the line that I think really, wins her this issue where she's like, America is a funny place. They love co-opting Asian culture. They love Asian cuisine, Asian movies, Asian technology and everything, but they rarely ever love Asian people, myself included.
Yeah.
They even go a step further where it's like, look, okay, let's actually explore Katana as a woman now, too, because another big thing from her Outsiders run was, of course, Gabby Doe, the woman who died and had an alien put into her. Young Justice did a version of her story. Because in those original things, Batman's like, okay, we got an amnesiac young girl here. Tatsu, you take care of her. And Katana's like, why? Because I'm the only woman on the team? And Batman's like, yeah, basically. And she's like, you motherfucker, Batman. I guess I'll just bite my tongue and do it then. Because that's also part of the Asian experience. Don't want to fight with the white superior. And eventually she's like, no, I actually loved getting to take care of Gabby because, it gave me a sense of family and made me feel loved. And, allowed me to be loved by another person. And I'm like, oh, that's actually very sweet. And also kind of like, look, Batman did know what he was talking about in a fucked up way. She even says, the whole concept of Batman and the Outsiders is patronizing. We're like a backup band. Also, really, you call us the Outsiders? Why don't you just call us Batman, the Asian one, the black one, the foreign one? Etc., etc. But then by the end of the book, too, she's like, you know what? I actually do appreciate the term outsider because it's what I've been my whole life. And outsiders, we may stand apart, but we never stand alone. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's a good piece of dialogue.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's really solid, and of course, they bring up real cases and real hate crimes and everything in it that hit a ton of bricks, especially now more than ever.
Yeah, that issue was came out at I hate to say the perfect time, but
I know, right? Yeah. It's really unfortunate. Yeah, this is a book that tugs your heartstrings. It's a book that you'd have to be made of stone to not almost be moved to tears by some of this, because it's the way she talks about her life and her suffering is again completely different from Mal and Black Lightning, because she's so just frank and matter of fact about it, which fits with her character so much. And other history of the DC universe, it's quickly becoming one of the best Black Label series, one of the most important, complex, challenging books I've read in a very long time.
It's very good, yeah.
It is when I read most comics, I'm like, okay, that was good. I'll think about this for a minute and do a video. When I read that, because it's very long, I'm like, okay, I want to take my time. I want to pull over all of this. I want the internet open and the other thing so I can research the actual history they're bringing up. And then I want to actually write down and take my time when I do the review, because this is really important shit.
Yeah, goddamn. And yeah, John Ridley's he's just swinging for the fences.
Killing it.
And, killing it on that and the Batman stuff. And yeah. It's great.
This might be his magnum opus, and the next issue is Renee Montoya, and then the finale is actually, I think, Black Lightning's daughter.
Oh, nice. Was this the issue as well that contained the stuff about Deathstroke and Terra?
Yes, it is. Oh my god, they do such an interesting take on that, because Tatsu's
they remember
whole thing,
that shit happened.
They do, and they have shit to say about it. So Tatsu's whole thing is look, my life was ruined by a powerful Yakuza man who lusted after me, and, I spurned his advances, and he ruined my whole life. And, my whole life as a superhero and as a person has just been defined by bad men always getting their way and always getting to write the rules. And she says, I actually saw a lot of myself in Terra, because here is a young woman who was trafficked, raped, manipulated, and turned into a weapon. And history remembers her as being crazy, despite the fact that she's so clearly a victim, while meanwhile Deathstroke gets to have this cult of personality around him as being a cool, badass man's man, despite the fact that he is canonically a pedophile.
Yeah. Again, but for so long, I think they tried to, get around that, and even,
they did.
Even, Christopher Priest run.
It's true.
Kind of made it out, seems like, oh, he's, the badass assassin sort of thing.
That book... Again, it's been a long time since I read that, but I know Terra did come back in that, and I think they tried really hard to have their cake and eat it too. To be like, yeah, it happened, but she turned out okay.
I think they've tried a couple of times to do that.
Yeah, and they're like, well, she was bad and crazy before, right? So it doesn't make that much difference. Only to be like, nah, you guys have been doing a lot of victim blaming, actually. And again, this book hits it even harder, where it's and why did that happen? Because Terra died right after, and dead people don't get to tell their own story. And I'm like, fuck me, that hits like a ton of bricks. Yeah. And of course, too, anytime you talk about anything even mildly important, on YouTube, all the shitty people trip over themselves to let you know how much they suck. Again, one of the worst comments I got was one guy being there this book is anti-American.
It's like telling the American story.
Yeah, so history is anti-American is what you're saying. And then he's like, the sins of our fathers are not our own. And I'm like, yeah, because there's real hate crimes against Asian people happening today. You can have those. You don't need their sins. You have your own. But also, nice job just, being a petulant child and be like, not mine, Hey, here's a piece of Eastern wisdom for you. Those who do not learn from their past are doomed to repeat it, Genghis Khan. So there you go. Yeah, people can't face the truth. People don't like the truth, and people have temper tantrums about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's very good. I'm really interested to see what the Renee Montoya one is too, because it keeps like progressing in time. So like the Renee Montoya book will be happening in like the 2000s.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Especially like it'll be hard to top as well, especially thanks to like how Greg Rucka did her in like the Lois Lane book and everything. And like, yeah, I'm intrigued to see what it's going to be like.
Here's the thing too. I think the Katana book is probably going to be was the most challenging because unfortunately her legacy, and they make this part of the story too, is that she was been on more canceled books and more canceled teams than anybody. And yet Ridley is actually able to like tie together a cohesive life story for her. With Renee Montoya, okay, yeah, you actually got like a pretty good life story to write because she was in a lot of stuff for like a decent amount of time. She was pretty popular. And again, too, the added thing, too, is like, when you write a story about Renee Montoya, not only are you going to be writing about the Hispanic American experience, which there is a lot to cover, but she's also a gay woman, too.
Oh, that's definitely going to play a big part in this.
And Ridley has not forgotten about that. It's like, look, I'm going to write about them, as people of color living in America, as superheroes working in the thing, also as, lovers and their relationships. And I'm like, man, in like 40 pages, you tell really three-dimensional versions of all these people.
Writing them as people.
Very much so. Thank you, 1996, Soulful Trust. Appreciate it. But yeah, other history, really goddamn good. Really important work right now. In fact, if you go to my video review, I actually left a link in the description there for, one of the groups that's accepting donations now to like, fight anti-Asian American hate crimes there. What was the name of the group? Advancing Justice is what it's called. So check that one out, everyone.
Nice.
If you're so interested. And maybe I'll put the link here at the end of this episode too, so people can find it as well.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's the show, everyone. I know it's weird to leave on such a heavy note because it was a heavy book, but it was good. What do you have planned for the week, Matt? Anything?
Not really. I'm just gonna continue doing some reviews. I got some important work I need to sort out before the end of the week, and yeah, I think this week as well. I think I was looking at the comics. Is another light week in comics.
Good. I like these light weeks because I can review Invincible and actually take a break. I got Easter dinner tomorrow, so that's going to be fun. I'll be sure to be posting pictures of my turkey and everything else I'm enjoying.
Lovely.
So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone, for coming and joining us. Again, happy Easter for all the people who came and joined us live. We always truly appreciate it. If you're a patron, you'll be sure to get this episode first before anyone else in both audio and visual form. Thanks to Wild Bill Soda, as always, for sponsoring the show. Be sure to check out the link down in the description to them and your promo code that you can use. And yeah, I guess that'll just about do it for this week, everyone.
Yeah.
And us. Yeah, thank you so much for coming by, everyone. We will see you all next time. Bye-bye.